Hi everybody, this is Alice, Bejeweled Hedgehog, back for yet another video. Okay, I am very tired again tonight, but I am happy because that means my most recent bout of insomnia is pretty much over. Okay, let's see. Today and goals. Let's just jump right into this. Oh, wait, of course, off the track again. But I want to welcome two new vloggers that I follow. Two people who I subscribe to, and now they are doing the 100-day vlog challenge. The first video that I saw was from the Vicky Y. Hi Victoria, how are you? I loved your vlog. I am so happy so many people are vlogging and they're so much fun to watch. And then the next one that I watched was Susie QZ. She is amazingly talented. I have been watching her craft videos since I first found out that people were doing them on YouTube. So anyway, hi Susie QZ. All right, let's see. Assessment of my goals. Goals for the day. All right, let's see. My day was pretty much uneventful, primarily because I talked to my best friend on the phone for a little over 2 hours. And then, since I've been really having trouble sleeping and not getting enough sleep all night, I decided I would take a nap, and it turned into a 4-hour nap. So in terms of, you know, the grocery shopping, the taking the watches in to be repaired, my arch enemy, the laundry, none of that happened. And I was kind of disappointed in that until I realized, you know, I mean, sleep is important. You hear all the experts saying sleep is important. So, you know, sorry, today I accomplished sleep. So anyhow, and the cool thing is, the thing that lets me know that my insomnia is over is that it's fairly late right now and I'm tired. So pretty much after I make this video, and if I'm not too tired, a video response to Ask Miss Chris, I'm just going to curl up in bed and read a book and go to sleep. So that is that. I have had the strangest relationship with sleep my entire life. So I really, you know, I'm really having a hard time judging. Sorry I keep moving like that. The glare on my glasses annoys me. There, if I tilt my head down, but then I look kind of ridiculous. I look, with my head down like this, I sort of look and feel like I'm plotting something. Anyhow, all right, we'll try to keep the glare. But anyway, keep the glare away. I've never had normal sleep patterns, so it's hard for me to tell. I've always assumed that this latest, you know, bouts of insomnia had to do with being 50 and the female hormone at 50 thing. But when I was a child, and this is such a waste, a total waste, I didn't need sleep. And I am not kidding when I say I didn't need sleep. I was the baby from hell. Newborn babies are supposed to lay around in little lumps and sleep, and you look at them and say, oh, they're so cute, I wish they would do something. This one did. I didn't sleep much. I mean, comparatively, infants do sleep, you know, a fair amount. But I did not sleep the long hours that babies were supposed to sleep. And, you know, being a baby and not having any background knowledge to draw on or much to keep myself entertained with, when I wasn't asleep, if I was not around another person, I was told I could be put in those little baby seat things and, you know, hauled from room to room, and as long as there was some activity going on, I would just sit there and watch. The problem came when all the adults, like my parents, wanted to go to bed and go to sleep, because I didn't sleep that much at night either. And it was kind of nightmarish for them, and that continued up until my adolescence. Up until I hit puberty. And the problem with a child not being a sleeper, and when I say not being a sleeper, I was probably a 4 to 5 hour a night kid. unless I was sick. When I was sick, everybody was happy because I slept so much. Imagine, having a grade school kid, a 6-year-old who is too old to be confined, like you can't put her in a crib or what we used to call playpens, although I think that's politically incorrect now or something, who is capable of getting into things, and can just go all over the place. So pretty much at night, it's almost like leaving the kid untended. Because for whatever reasons, I think it was because my mother wanted and father wanted just some time when I wasn't underfoot, they put me to bed at 8 o'clock. So if I went to bed at 8 o'clock and fell asleep, I'd be up by midnight or 1. And I have so many clear childhood memories of being in my room, bored as crap. I mean, toys can only go so far for someone that age if there's no one to play with, watching the clock. And I used to love 4 o'clock in the morning because I knew that in 2 more hours, my father would get up because he got up at 6, and then there would be somebody to tag along with and bother. And I've often thought that that's maybe why I read so much. I'm a voracious reader, to put it mildly, because I learned to read pretty quickly. I was already reading the basic Dr. Seuss, I think when I went to either kindergarten or first grade, I was, way ahead of everybody. But I don't think that that's the result of any, inherent genius. I think it's more like a survival mechanism. If I didn't learn to read, what would I have done? So anyhow, and, if I had that energy now, because the difference was between that and insomnia was, no, I did not fall asleep in the middle of class. I did not come home from school and curl up into a ball and take a nap. I was fine. I was just completely fine. That's all the sleep I needed. Then I hit puberty, and I kind of completely reversed, and I apparently slept like a rock. Another story that my family tells is we lived in suburban neighborhood, and the long street with a cul-de-sac at the end, and we were at the very end of the cul-de-sac. And one of the neighbors' houses caught on fire in the middle of the night one night. I mean, thank God no one was killed, there were no injuries. But of course the fire trucks all come streaming down the street, fire engines blaring, some of the neighbors are out, seeing what's going on. And my family was, all crowded into my bedroom because my bedroom was closest to this, had the best view. So they assumed I would be up, what was the noise? No, I'm sleeping. Whole thing, fire is put out, all the neighbors talking out on the streets, go back into their houses, and the fire trucks try to go down and turn around that cul-de-sac. But they're big and they're long, and their engines are revving and they're going backward and forward and backward and forward. And according, to my family, my parents and my sister, it's like the walls of our house are practically vibrating. And they looked over, I'm asleep. I mean, they knew better at this point than to check me to see if I was dead, because I had, I guess, thankfully for them, developed these sleep habits pretty much at the onset of puberty. But I went from not sleeping at all to sleeping like a rock. And, when I was younger and had roommates, everybody used to say, well, who's going to go and, throw Alice out the window? Because if a fire ever happens in the apartment, she'll never wake up on her own. So I carried that deep, deep, deep level of sleeping. I had in my 20s, I could fall asleep on the metro, miss my stop, and pretty much sleep, I guess, until some other passenger was concerned I was dead and came over and tried to wake me up. But anyhow, that carried through until maybe my mid-30s and my 40s, mid-30s to mid-40s. And then I developed what I think is probably the closest to, the way normal people sleep. And that is, if a thunderstorm occurs, I wake up and hear it. I can doze off on the metro, but, it's not like I'm not aware of where I am. So I had that little maybe 10-year stretch of normal sleep. And then starting, about 4 or 5 years ago, late 40s, the insomnia bouts have been starting, but it's not like when I was a kid. I would give anything to have that now. The insomnia bouts are, I don't sleep at night, but trust me, there's this magic time in the mid-afternoon where I am practically crying. I'm so tired. and then I, come home and yet I can't fall asleep. So anyhow, blah, blah, blah. But, what's happening is it just comes in little spurts, and then when it breaks, I'll sleep a lot. So, and then I'll go like normal for a while. So this is the beginning of a normal sleep cycle. Thank goodness. Let's see, breathing goals, I consider that over. I'm not even going to mention it because it's just become incorporated, and I'm so happy. Dietary goals, I made out a shopping list. I kind of have it under control now about, what I want to do in terms of eating unprocessed foods, still hanging in the balance on the meat. I am going to be dairy-free for the rest of my life. And I am so thankful that, I have initially tried the vegan diet because I am lactose intolerant, and I had absolutely no idea. My cousin is lactose intolerant, but I don't like to talk about icky things, but if you're familiar with lactose intolerance, it produces a very, very definite symptom. And her symptom is really, really linked up to lactose, so there's never been any question about what's wrong with her. I have the same situation with eggs, and that's a very clear-cut relation. I always call it an egg allergy, but it's not. I don't have to stab myself with an EpiPen. I have that, what do I call it? Intestinal inconvenience. I think that's a nice way of putting it. But the thing is, even when I am not having an inconvenience due to eggs, I am just always sort of bloated and bubbly, and I always have an unhappy tummy, to one extent or another, and I have more intestinal inconveniences than the average person, and I do not like them. And the first thing I noticed when I did the vegan diet, which means just not, avoiding milk, it means avoiding everything with any animal product in it, is within a few days that stopped. It completely stopped. And I know that it's the dairy, and it's also not just, the dairy that people think of as pouring, you pour soy milk on your cereal instead of cow's milk. It is everything, because I stopped the cheese, and I started looking at the bars I had considered healthy, Luna bars I would just pick up at the grocery store to keep in my purse in case I got hungry when eating wasn't convenient. They all have dairy ingredients in them. So those are out, and I am happy. I know it's not really anything else, because in terms of trying to eat unprocessed food but processed food sneaking in, of course it has. There's been a potato chip or two. There has been, more processed foods than I would like, but there's been no dairy. So anyway, I am very, very happy. Still weighing in on the meat, not sure, but definitely sticking to a diet of unprocessed foods and tons of fruits and veggies, and never a dairy product again. So anyhow, just a recommendation, if there are other people out there with just, unhappy tummies, and it just seems to be something they, I have a weak stomach, I don't know what's wrong with me. Try seriously eliminating not just milk, but all dairy products completely from your diet and see what happens. It's it's a miracle. So that's that, and I haven't decided on my goals for next week because the watch was, obviously a total failure, epic fail, didn't go anywhere today, too tired. But I did not just forget about them. Because I'm doing this, I feel accountable. So the watches are going to carry over into next week's goal, and I am going to have a moment of shame, probably, when I go over my goals with people. But anyway, so still trying to figure out what my next set of goals will be. Really kind of too tired to mess with that right now. I'm kind of so embarrassed, I don't want to talk about it, but I had a tiny health victory. One of the things that drove me to wanting to change my lifestyle that I kind of mentioned but didn't mention too much because it was embarrassing is that I have been having some serious joint pains in my feet and knees, and I never had them before. And as I have been doing walking, I still, get some pain and cramping in my feet, but it's getting much, much better. And I realized yesterday that I have been going up and down staircases that I normally avoid without this either very mild pain or no pain. When I go to our local library, which I do a lot, there's an elevator, and there's also, a big staircase to get from the lower lobby book sale floor up to the main floor. And I had just been bothered by this pain for, such a long time that I just got in the habit of going straight to the elevator. But without thinking, not yesterday, but week before, I just went straight up the stairs and straight back down again, because bending to go down is as hard as going up, which a lot of people don't realize, bending your joints. And I did it again this time, and I've noticed that going up and down the stairs at my sister's house, I really used to not want to do it because it hurt my knees and it hurt my feet, and it's not so much anymore. So no, I cannot tell you, that I went for a mile-long hike or, did a whole exercise video episode, but I had my teeny tiny victory, and I am extremely pleased. Tired, kind of brainless. I saw Poet Spice's magnificent jewelry. Just amazing. That woman has got some serious talent. Hi, Jamie Lula Tallulah. And she makes faces out of Sculpey clay and then incorporates them in her jewelry. And that reminded me, I've never made much with Sculpey clay, primarily because once my nieces discover it, they keep giving me so many things that they make that I just, use theirs. But when I was on Etsy several years ago, just browsing for jewelry making supplies, I found a seller who makes these little faces, and I think they are Sculpey clay. And they look like pouty dolls, and they are hilarious. And this is a pendant that I made. It's not finished yet because it hasn't been turned into a necklace. But here it is in its pendant form. And it's one of these little cute pouty doll faces. It's hard to see. Oh, you can see the colors better back here. The background was a greeting card. And then I just I put beads and glued them to the top of her head like hair, and then I put an assortment of beads, and it's kind of hard to see, but some of these beads are little flowers, purple and green, and put them around the bottom. And she just kind of reminded me sort of a woodland spirit with violets and, I don't know, kind of cool mystical colors. And it's hard to see in this light, but scattered throughout the trees are little kind of iridescent crystals that glitter a lot more in real life. So that is my version of face jewelry. And then I had one other pendant that what I call a face pendant. And she's spinning. This one is a completed necklace. This one is, the chain with the pendant on it. And here she is too. Pouty little doll face. The paper in the back is scrapbooking paper. I've never really done any scrapbooking paper, but I love the scrapbooking paper for altered art jewelry. And I noticed that the way this paper, when cut into the oval, putting an oval shape in it, kind of looks like wings. So I took some white butterfly, they're on her head, although it's harder to see, some plastic white butterflies with the gold on them, and glued them around her head as if her hair, either she had butterflies for hair, like a friendly Medusa, or maybe they were just coming out of her head. Maybe she is the source of all butterflies. Then I put a little butterfly up there. And so that is my other piece of face jewelry. And I have some face jewelry kind of sitting around. Faces, not jewelry. A couple other faces that came in the set that I ordered, but I haven't really done a lot with them yet. Oh, cool news. I am doing some pattern testing. Generally, because I am so scatterbrained and have such a hard time pulling myself together, I don't volunteer for pattern testing in case something comes up and I can't get to it. But someone asked me to pattern test baby things. And I love baby things, and, you know, I cannot say no to that. And so I got the pattern, and other than telling you that it is some baby things, I can't really go into it because I don't know if she's planning on selling it or what she wants to do, so I can't obviously give away her pattern. But it calls for, you know, some heavier weight, chunkier baby yarn. And sure enough, I have a whole bag of it from the baby blanket that baby blanket yarn that my sister gave me, that I'm making a blanket for my niece out of. Oh, I finally reached the halfway mark on the blanket. And the halfway mark is determined by the number of bags I have. I had been given 4 bags of yarn, so she was going to have a 4-bag blanket, and I've used up 2 of the bags. So I have plenty of yarn here, and I'm going to use this gorgeous yarn to pattern test the baby things. I am so excited. I would be tempted to do it like tonight, except, of course, that is not good because I am sleepy. And there are times when I have not insomnia, but something that I have no one to blame but me. And that is I get interested in a book or excited about something that I'm doing, and I don't go to bed. And then that's my own stupid fault. Book-wise, I have started on, I just finished the book that I was reading. I'm not going to stop and get it, but it's about Tom Dooley by Sharon McCrum. And suddenly, of course, because I've turned on the camera, I cannot remember the full title. Was it The Ballad of Tom Dooley? I think so, The Ballad of Tom Dooley. Anyway, interesting book, very good book. She is a talented writer. She is so good at developing and portraying a character that this character was kind of unlikable. And I didn't like her. I really did not. There are 2 main voices throughout the book. One is a judge, and one is someone who was a supposed bystander during the crime. I'm not going to talk too much about these characters because I don't want to do any plot spoilers if anyone wants to read the book. And I do recommend it. Sharon McCrum is gifted, and she's won a lot of awards. But she'll take on people and situations that are not always pleasant ones. And she does her characters so well that you really feel for them. And this character was not likable. She's a sociopath. Not like a Hannibal Lecter, but just like a really kind of repugnant person, and she's supposed to be. But she's so repugnant, I didn't like her. So I guess I just wasn't in the mood for that kind of read, and I didn't like the main character. But I mean, definitely take a look at it on Amazon, see what other people have to say if you're interested. Meanwhile, I am moving into the next book on my list, Time Traveler's Wife. Thank you, Kathy. I've already started it, and it's a much happier book. So anyway, I'm tired. I'm going to probably do one more video for Ask Miss Chris, and then go to bed. Bye.